Bro, what is this production?
And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of what he just said, you can put them earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do.
Jake Paul has reacted to the viral sparring and training footage of Gervonta, Tank Davis that took over social media, and his response has everyone talking. The clip shows Davis looking sharper, faster, and more explosive than ever as he prepares for his next fight, sparking excitement among fans who believe Tank is entering his prime. Davis has built his reputation in the lighter divisions, usually fighting between 133 and 135 pounds, and has never officially weighed above 140 in a pro bout. In contrast, Paul is a natural cruiserweight who competes around 200 pounds and recently weighed in at that mark for his fights. That's not just a small difference, it's multiple weight classes apart. When the gap is that big, factors like durability, power, punch resistance, and leverage start to matter more. It's no longer just about skill but about who can take the hits and still perform.
Is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really going to do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion.
Carmel Martin recently reflected on a sparring session with Davis when he was just 15 or 16. He admitted feeling nervous at first, but the session quickly turned into a chess match, focused on timing, speed, and counters rather than raw power. Davis never went all out to knock him out. Instead, they exchanged angles and rhythm in a strategic battle. Martin noted Davis's strength, but in terms of skill and quickness, they were evenly matched. He described the experience as fun, challenging, and an important learning moment in his growth as a fighter.
What was it like when you sparred him? I know you sparred Tank early on. Yeah. What was that experience like? Like, replay that experience for me. Like, you coming out of it, what was your thought?
Yeah, I was nervous at first. I think I was 15 at the time we sparred, so he wasn't really like trying to knock me out or nothing like that. But we was going like, he was using the speed on me. Like, we was both like going speed for speed, and it was great. It was like a chess match.
Did you understand in that moment like why he is who he is?
Yeah, I seen why he's able to beat these guys. Then I also seen why I'm so like I got all this hype around.
Sean Porter defended Davis's choice to take an exhibition with Jake Paul, saying critics overlook the bigger picture. For Porter, the fight isn't about proving greatness but securing financial stability for Davis and his family. With agreed-upon rules and safety measures, the risks are limited, and the focus is on entertainment. Porter stresses that fighters often have short careers and need opportunities that offer both exposure and financial gain. From this view, Tank accepting the fight isn't selling out, it's safeguarding his future while giving fans a show, highlighting the balance between legacy and life beyond the sport.
They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like I don't know the official one, they're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
They're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference.
Right.
There might be less hate on it, but at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter getting in the ring with a 190-pound guy, or whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this.
In contrast, many feel that despite the hype, the size difference makes the fight more of a spectacle than a fair or competitive boxing match. Even promoters seem to acknowledge this, implementing special safety measures like a 195-pound catch weight, larger gloves, and treating it as an exhibition. For them, the focus isn't on weight but on Gervonta's experience against elite champions. With Jake's limited resume, they envision Davis using his speed and precision to land clean shots and make Jake appear awkward, despite the size gap.
Rules, and like, are they gonna actually try and knock each other out? Because it's gonna be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's gonna have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah,
You know,
big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's gonna eat his.
I thought
guts.
Jake was gonna fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed.
No, that was actually getting.
That is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
Not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like
So
that.
what is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we
Yes.
don't punch
Yeah.
each other in the jaw?
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not
they
very
can get away
interesting
with
to
it.
me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah,
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person?
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well, Floyd
dude.
likely has shoes on
Oh,
there.
dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small. Wow.
Chael Sonnen recently criticized Jake Paul for shifting focus from Anthony Joshua to a fight with Gervonta. Tank Davis, calling it a disappointment compared to what had been promised. Sonnen argued that, unlike Paul, Tank isn't naturally gifted at promoting fights or generating hype. He lets his skills speak in the ring but lacks Paul's promotional instincts. While acknowledging Tank's undeniable talent and credibility, Sonnen believes that without Paul's media machine, the fight wouldn't attract the same attention. In his view, the matchup's appeal relies more on Paul's promotion than just the fighters themselves.
Exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for 2. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Meanwhile, Davis's view of Jake Paul has changed over time. Initially, he dismissed Paul as a loud, attention-seeking spectacle, publicly mocking his claims and treating him like a clown in boxing. As Paul took training seriously and gained legitimacy, Davis began to shift his perspective. He has acknowledged Paul's work ethic, mental toughness, and commitment in the gym. While he still doesn't see Paul as top-tier boxing talent, Davis now appears more open to the idea of a fight, influenced in part by Paul's public profile and drawing power.
He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be able to box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So this show how tough.
Especially after Jake Paul's decisive win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., his respect within the boxing community has grown significantly. The Anaheim event broke the venue's gate revenue record, surpassing shows led by elite fighters, showing major commercial impact. Esteemed figures like Oscar de la Hoya now view Paul as serious about boxing, even suggesting he could contend for world titles. Manny Pacquiao also acknowledged that, despite lingering doubts, Paul's dedication is undeniable. The fight further boosted his technical credibility, with analysts praising his ring control and composure under pressure.
Couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people, fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this. A lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be...
Jake Paul has announced that his second chapter in boxing is underway, this time targeting real pro fighters. After defeating Andre August, he said he's moving away from crossover or MMA opponents and focusing on traditional boxing, aiming at legitimate competition. In a CNN interview, Paul emphasized that he plans to fight everyone, especially the toughest challenges where he's the underdog and can prove himself in the ring. His resolve is clear across interviews and public platforms. He wants to move beyond spectacle and build a true boxing legacy by facing credible opponents at the sport's highest level.
But he's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
I don't know, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
However, the large weight difference between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis was too significant to ignore, leading Georgia regulators to decline approval for the matchup. As a result, Paul's team withdrew their permit application in Georgia and moved the event to Miami. This shift highlights the complexities of organizing major exhibition fights, where safety, fairness, and risk outweigh financial considerations. For Davis, the rejection underscores lingering skepticism, while for Paul, relocating to Miami aligns with his flair for headlines and drama. The move affects fan perception, logistics, and underscores how delicate boxing's business side can be.
There's no way in hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You could still purchase them online. And the fight is still listed on the State Farm.
Critics argue that Jake Paul's rise in boxing relies not only on promotion but also on a form of disrespect toward past generation fighters. By bringing retired legends back with promises of huge paydays, they say he undermines the sport's integrity. Even icons like Mike Tyson have been drawn back after years away, which excites fans but also raises genuine safety concerns.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday. Because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to choose.
In the end, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup highlights how blurred the line between sport and entertainment has become. While some see a mismatch, others view it as a high-stakes business move, offering both fighters exposure, big paydays, and new platforms. The weight difference, venue changes, promotional strategies, and debates over legitimacy will always surround the bout. For fans, critics, and insiders, the real story is seeing how these two very different fighters handle the pressure, perception, and consequences on fight night. Whether remembered as a spectacle or a milestone in crossover boxing, its impact will linger.
Optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
We're gonna have to help you up. We're gonna have to help you up.
We're gonna see about it.
Help you up.
We're gonna
Let's go.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment, will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive.
Does this fight make sense, or is the gap too wide to respect? Share your thoughts in the comments.